Hello, I've got a couple games for you today, both of which are on Reckoning. But before we jump into those, I want to talk a little bit about what's coming up. So, for those of you who've been watching these videos for a while, you may have noticed that before I started doing the commentary, I kept the clips quite minimal, just the kind of the main griefs only. But since I've been doing the commentary, I've been trying to pad out the clips a little bit more so that I can tell more of the story of the game. And what that enables me to do is now to start including more losses. Because before, if I got a loss, I typically didn't have many good clips. There wasn't much point making a video on it. But now I can pad those clips out a bit more. Plus, I've been getting more losses because we've been doing more EU customs. And the whole point of EU customs is to make it roughly a 50-50 win chance for each team, balance the teams as much as possible. And so with that said, hopefully that now kind of increases the tension of the matches you watch going forward, because I'm throwing quite a few losses in there, so you never know if I'm going to win or if I'm going to lose at the end of the game. Okay. With that said, this first match I've got for you today is in the Reckoning Double Tap area. It is EU host and it's an EU custom. And just to quickly go over the EU custom rules, it is quite a simplified rule set. There's no guns, no challenges, and no griefing respawning players for 30 seconds. The thinking behind that last one is just so that it's not only, say, the best players who are alive the whole time having fun. Everyone can be alive most of the time, hopefully, and also have as much fun as the other players. So the teams for this first match are me, Lick, Alistair, John Tor against Fractions, Flood, Lips, and Hunter. So now we kick off on round 24, and I'm trying to put some pressure on Fractions. He runs into this little hidey hole and he's got a bunch of zombies chasing him, so I try an aggressive ether. Try to block his exit. But he does manage to get out. I'm keeping the pressure up and I'm trying to grief him on this ramp. And he does use an Ether Shroud. However, Flood is griefing me. And he takes my Down Wish and I have to Ether. 2 rounds forward now, and Lick, Alistair, and Hunter have bled out, so it's a 2v3. John Tor has ethered. Flood is kind of stuck there and ethers as well, and he goes down. Lips is going in for the quick revive. He managed to stop that with a shock. I'm getting quite low, so I dip out, but Kobe a shock charge onto Flood. So I'm chasing Fractions here to try and stop him getting a revive. However, he does get it, picking up from where Lips left off. And I'm getting very low, so I do a safety ether. Jumping a couple minutes ahead, and Flood went back down on purpose so that he could bleed out. And John has just gone down, as has Lips there in the corner, so it's now 1v1, me versus Fractions. Wasn't going to revive you anyway, John, but okay. Just kidding. Throw a shock here in case he wants to buy armor. Get him stuck in some puddles, and I don't know how he doesn't lose a Dying Wish there, but he is in fact fine. So we both survived till next round, and 6 people respawn and are all clamouring for their perks as Uber Klaus bombs the perk machine. And we'll have a quick salvage check here, so you can check in on what everyone's working with. Moving 2 rounds forward now, and John and Hunter have bled out, so it's 3v3. Everyone's frozen. Lick is having some trouble here in the corner. He Ether Shrouds. but he does lose a Dying Wish, and he goes down in that puddle, unfortunately. Flood is stuck in the corner as well, and has to Aether Shroud. And he tries to turn that into an aggressive Aether on me, but I just run away. And as I'm doing that, Alistar gets the revive on Lick. Now, Flood and Fractions are giving me some trouble at the armor table. Alistar comes in and starts griefing Flood at the armor table, and Flood loses a Dying Wish. Jumping 2 minutes forward now and get ready for this because it's about to get crazy. Lips goes down at the armor table. I'm griefing Fractions a little bit here and he gets stuck. Has to Aether Shroud, loses a Dying Wish, but he buys it back straight away. I'm trying to guard Lips from getting revived. Lick, Aether Shrouds. Flood and Fractions come flying in. Fractions lose another Dying Wish, Aether Shrouds. Lick goes down. I shock charge Fractions, however that slows me down and it causes me to lose his Dying Wish. However, I buy it back straight away. Alistar used an Aether Shroud there, just ended, and he did get the revive on Lick. Lips bleeds out.
I knew we would make progress. Eventually.
And Fractions goes down. And we do manage to keep him down by just staying on top of Flood for the next minute. So we skip a minute ahead. Throw a shock to prevent him getting armor. We're all just trying to stay on top of him and grief him. It is 3v1, me, Al and Lick, all be Flood. Al is spending a bit too long in that puddle though, and unfortunately goes down. I prevent him getting armor once more. It is round 29 though, so if he can survive just a bit longer, everyone on his team will respawn next round. I get Al up, but unfortunately that gives Flood the time he needed to get armor. Al preventing Flood this time from getting armor. I'm being very aggressive, griefing him here. I lose a Dying Wish, but I keep griefing, and I do get a wish out of Flood as well. However, now it's round 30, so everyone spawns back in. And we're back to a 4v4. However, we jump 4 minutes forward now, and it's getting pretty hectic. Flood dies at the armor table. Fractions also dies at the armor table, so it's just Lips left for their team against me and Lick. Fractions has a self-revive though, and I shock charge him just a little bit too late, so he does revive. Lips is going for armor now rather than the revive. Lick loses a Dying Wish, and unfortunately it goes down. So it's now just me against Lips and Fractions. Try to get the revive on Lick, however Fractions prevents that last second. I'm stopping them getting a revive on Flood. It's getting very hectic now. I'm getting peppered with blue balls. Lips goes down, I Aether, and Fractions makes it out. However, I use this opportunity to try and get a revive on Lick once again. I do get him this time. I immediately try and grief Fractions, and I'm not letting him past. And he goes down. GG. Now time for the bonus match, which is once again on Reckoning, but this time in the drug area. And once again, it's EU host with EU custom rules. And it was me, LL, Lips, against Alistar, Flood, Potato Shooter, and WT Fast, also known as Sotrex. And OP joins a little bit later on. And we kick off round 17. And I'm trying to brief Potato Shooter. Flood has also gone down on purpose, and so it's just Alistar left, 3 versus 1. However, as I say that, Lips goes down, and I'm pretty sure he had all the zombies with him because there doesn't seem to be any zombies over here. However, they're on their way. A shock charge out just to increase the pressure. Uber Klaus is targeting him, and that forces him to ether. LL also ethers. Alistar does manage to survive the round, and everyone respawn. And in fact, we jump to round 21. Everyone's frozen. Lips is down, but I managed to get him up. I ether Shroud here just to increase the pressure on these guys. That forces a ether out of Potato. Flood is having trouble getting down those stairs though, and he loses a Dying Wish. Now I'm going to jump a minute ahead here. Both Lips and LL are down. I'm trying to get the revive on LL. However, Uber Klaus has got other ideas. He's stuck on him, so unfortunately I can't. Potato's also down. Jumping a minute ahead again. They did manage to revive Potato, so it is a proper 1v4. It is not looking good for your boy. Got 3 Uber Klauses closing in on my position. And unfortunately I've got a shock, which is definitely not the move right now. Another Uber Klaus, 4th one. I've lost the Dying Wish. They're all on top of me. And I go down. Ether too late there. And they start the shock charge chain on me, stopping me from self-reviving. I'm trying to crawl away from the Uber Klauses though, and from the armor table, to make it a little bit harder for them, because there's still 4 Uber Klauses here. They do have to be careful. Down to my last perk. Flood goes down though. He was the main one shock charging, and that gives me the window to revive. However, I've got no perks. Potato's trying to revive Flood. However, he goes down in the process. I'm still shock charged. I'm trying to get my perks back desperately. I shock charge. I managed to get Jug, and for that stupid bug, won't let me buy any more perks. Gotta quickly run away. Sotrix goes down. It's now 1v1 somehow. I'm just with Jug. Now I've got an option. I'm chasing Al. I can either be aggressive or I can be a pussy and go get my picks. I'm choosing to be aggressive, stopping the revives. And unfortunately I die.